The tide is turning. Jonas Valanciunas has been upgraded to questionable. Nikola Jokic and Cam Johnson will follow. Christian Brown will come back sometime. Things are getting better for the Nuggets from an injury perspective, but what does that mean on court? We'll talk about it on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day, being an everydayer and making us your first listen. We do appreciate you guys joining us, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or another podcast app. We are everywhere. Or if you're joining us at youtube.com/Locked On Nuggets, we appreciate you guys being part of our community, especially our everydayers. You can sign up at lockedonnuggets.supercast.com, where I've put up some thoughts about a bunch of random stuff, thoughts on injuries, my perspective on Spencer Jones and his contract situation, as well as just some random thoughts about where the Nuggets are. I'll have some breakdowns of the Wizards game before tip-off tonight over there as well, both on our Supercast page and via our subtext, which you can sign up for if you become an everydayer. My name is Matt Moore. I've been covering the Nuggets as a credentialed media member for 14 seasons. I'm joined by Swipa. He's at Swipa Cam. You can find him at the Press Box, Locked On NFL Game Night, Locked On NBA Game Night, his own channel, Swipa Cam, and over at the Player's Choice. On today's show, we will talk about what?
The Player's Choice, just the ebonics that you put in that. Player's Choice.
Player's Choice, my fault.
The Player's Choice.
The Player's Choice. Player's Choice. We're going to talk about the injury situation today and kind of our perspective on what's going on, what to expect as guys get back healthy. We're going to talk about how to manage. What do you got? What's going on?
Were there some comments made by Jackson is noting on the last show that I was not a part of? Did I miss something? Did something happen in the chat that was
blown? There's always I'm always taking shots at you.
No. So somebody, not from you. Somebody said there was some very off-color comments that were made.
I did not catch that.
Oh, okay. All right. What did I miss? They came in my show the other day. They said he said somebody in my comments came up when I was doing film breakdowns on my whiteboard. They said that they come here because they like all that street talk. I was like, what is that? Street talk? What does that mean? I know he had street talk on talking about flex offense. Inverted pick and rolls.
All that Spain jive.
Just Spain jive.
We'll talk about we'll preview the Wizards and Bucks games, and we'll also get to our favorite things from this stretch without Nikola Jokic, because there's actually been a lot to enjoy this month, which is really surprising given how we started it. Okay, let's start here. Jonas Valanciunas was upgraded to questionable yesterday on the injury report. The traditional way that this goes is the player's out, he's listed as questionable, and then he plays. He may not play tonight because probably what's going to happen is he will go through warm-up pregame. He'll see how it feels. And if he's like, nope, not tonight, then that's a no-go. If he's like, yeah, I can play. And if the staff clears him on whatever test that they're going to evaluate, then he'll play. I will not be surprised either way. I think it's 50-50 about whether or not Jonas plays. It was really weird seeing the comments from I keep running into this problem, and it's not just Ryan, though it definitely is Ryan. Who every time that there's an injury update that I'm like, oh, that's like a good update, Ryan's like, oh my God, it's the worst update ever.
Yeah, I saw he thinks they're rushing him back to like a panic.
Yeah, in a panic. Or it's like, oh my God, like Jonas is ahead of Jokic. This must mean that Jokic is it means that Jonas is coming back super early and Jokic is either on track or probably going to come back earlier. I will maintain hope that he comes back to the Memphis Grizzlies game on Sunday, Jokic. But Val, I would say, will be back in the next 3 games, even if he sits out today and tomorrow and isn't able to go. I think it would say Sunday he probably comes back. Look, the very simple, easiest thing here is just like having guys who can rebound is better.
They've been the worst rebounding team that I've in the league basically since Jokic and Jonas have gone out, especially on the offensive glass.
Of course. I just don't. I don't know. I'm always surprised that like Bennett's made it. Ben and I've sniped at each other because like Bennett's like, well, this is like so bad, and I'm just like, yeah, they don't have any centers. They don't have any centers. You need tall people, and they don't have any tall people. They have one tall person in Zeke Naji who is not wide or a great rebounder and can't catch the ball. They are a terrible rebounding team. Jamal has very much taken responsibility. Like Jamal's been like, I need to do a better job rebounding. And I am very much like, I don't know, man, you're averaging 30 points and 7 assists a game. I think you're doing enough. You've been good. I think other people can rebound. They just don't have any size. Like there's just no way to do it. These
literally last 12 games, guess where the Nuggets rank in rebounding?
30th.
Yeah.
Of course. They lost them other rebounders. And the other thing is, like, if you look at the roster construction, this team wasn't built as in like, well, if one guy goes down, we have 5 other great rebounders. The team was built as we have the best rebounding center in the league in terms of like high volume with Joker. If he goes down, we have Valanciunas. Well, if they both go down, like they didn't build in like other guys to do it. Aaron playing 5 is not going to rebound well. Aaron doesn't rebound at 4 because he usually gets space to the perimeter.
Yeah.
Because teams are like, let's not go at him. So
were you surprised? Have you been surprised they've been playing Aaron at center during the stretch, like to start him at center instead of maybe starting Holmes or Zeke next to him?
I'm annoyed. I'm not surprised, but I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
It is proof that it's proof, honestly, that all the criticisms of Michael Malone about being unable to make whatever the smart long-term decision is, that's not a Malone problem. That's every coach in the league, that you're trying to survive night to night and you're trying to get through 48 minutes of basketball and keep your team afloat. And you run into this problem. Like he's talked like Adelman's been like, I'm playing Jamal too many minutes. I'm playing Aaron too many minutes. We blew past his minutes restriction. And it's like, hot dog meme guy. We're all trying to find the guy who did this. It's like, well, don't play him as much. But the problem is like when you're trying to stay afloat, and especially when you're in competitive games, this is honestly one of the things I was looking at outside the Hornets game. All these other games, it's like they got even the games where they lost, like the Lakers game, they could have won the Lakers game.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get blown out in the Lakers game, right? So like you're within range. So you're like, well, I don't want to just give up on this game. It takes such an absolute like maniacal discipline to be like, nope, we're not playing you over this minute. Nope. I'm sorry. And the players would be like, we can win this game. Let me play. Nope. Can't do it. Like you have to be so hyper disciplined. So just getting Valanciunas back to be able to be like, Aaron gets to play 4, Jonas plays 5. You play the switch all in the backup minutes with Zeke. It's way better. Now, like the defense has not been good, and it's going to get worse. The defense is going to get worse because Val's back. Would you agree?
Well, Brother Matt, I don't know if I agree, but it mostly has to do with I have been keeping track of this like quite frequently, and I'm not sure from a defensive standpoint. I would have to go look it up. I would bet that if I had to gauge their opponent's offensive rating on offensive rebounding, it is over the last, what are they, 8 and 7 and 5 without Jokic, 7 and 5 now?
Yep.
I'd be willing to bet they're sitting around like a 130 offensive rating, like defensively off of rebounds over the last 12 games. I would even bear to say their defense could get slightly better because if they can just end the possession without giving up 13 offensive rebounds, 18 offensive rebounds, 21 offensive rebounds, that would help their defense a lot. Because even in the few that the Lakers got, they didn't get a lot. But one of the things is, and honestly, brother, that's why I was kind of so annoyed with the way David Adelman handled the second half. I just even think the offense they were getting into, having Bruce Brown and Jalen Pickett in the short role, and then obviously putting Peyton Watson on the wing instead of putting him in the corner, I think changing up how the Lakers were allowed to get the double off on Murray. The Lakers were catching the ball off of rebound and then running against smaller players on the other end. So then they would have a 14-0 run, 16-0 run. I think if you go watch the game they played even versus the Mavericks, they don't have the rebounding. Therefore, the Mavericks are getting back into the game because, again, you get multiple possessions, multiple cracks at it. I think there's a world where the defense gets better just because, hey, can we at least shut off the water to a degree?
I want to credit you. That was an incredible, incredible guess. Since January 1st, their defensive efficiency on offensive rebound attempts is 128, and you said 130. It's very on point. It's I don't know. There's the answer here is you end possessions, you give up fewer points, second chance points, but your half court defense probably gets worse because you're no longer switching everything. Mm-hmm. And you're playing drop coverage with Val, who can't protect the rim. Like, I don't blame Val. It's just like he just He does his job. It's just like it's a bad position for most centers. Most centers are vulnerable when they play drop. It's just really, really tough. And so that to me is like kind of the balance that they'll have to figure out is like they'll get a little bit worse defensively, but they won't just get killed on these rebounds. They won't be on the floor all the time. So I'll be really curious. I'll be really curious to see kind of how this works. And I don't know whether with Joker and Cameron Johnson, I am concerned about they will dip when those guys come back more than people realize because of the adjustment to getting them back. Val, I am less worried about because they're running mostly the same stuff, but I am just kind of curious to see kind of how this goes. We'll talk about how to manage this final stretch without Jokic whenever that comes and when we think he's going to come back. We'll talk about that and more coming up on Locked On Nuggets. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern, 4 to 5:30 Mountain Time, have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off, and you can make a move before the window closes. Timing's perfect, right before the games and right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to that Friday night basketball without overthinking it. Before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. So Cam, I want to ask you, what's your prediction for when Joker comes back? Ryan, I think, is on record for the Detroit Pistons game, which is exactly 4 weeks.
Yeah, I said when the injury happened was the 27th, which is that's the Pistons game, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
On the schedule. I'll hold out hope for you that you guessed it, that he'll come back slightly before the 4 week mark.
Mm-hmm.
So then that will put us on the schedule. That means he would come back either on the 23rd or the 25th. I think it makes the most sense. See, I thought it might be at home. The reason why I said the Pistons game originally going to be at home, would that be a better spot to bring him back? But if it doesn't matter, let's just get a surprise in there. Let's say the Bucks game. So they get a Friday night game versus the Bucks in Milwaukee. And that will put Jokic at just, around the 28-day mark. He's apparently been, doing well ahead of schedule or whatever. I think that's the game I'm looking at, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay. I'm still predicting the Grizzlies game. That to me makes sense. If he wasn't upgraded to questionable for the Wizards game, I'm going to rule him out for the back-to-back. I don't think.
Sure.
I don't really see the value in bringing him back for the Bucks game. From the perspective,
I'll switch. Yeah, I'll go with you with the Grizzlies because that's actually now. This is also the other part that kind of sucks, bro. If this was any other month, like we could have gotten a more normal schedule. But the fact that they have so many basketball games this month, plus all of the back-to-backs, is really, I think, thrown a wrench.
I mean, I will say this: like that's why them going 7-5, even if they lose these next two and go 7-7, or they lose 2 of the next 3 and go 8-7, it's so huge just because like they got hit with the worst stretch of injuries they've had in years since 2022, and they did it in the month where it was the absolute worst time for that to happen. Like if you had been like, what month can they not afford these injuries? I've been like, oh, January. If they get injured in January, they're screwed. And they were not screwed. They've managed to stay above water, which is a credit to all those guys. I do think it's, Perez is Perez, and the comments is talking about like they need to win this game tonight. No, they don't. They don't need to win. They don't need to win any of these games. They don't. They got 7 wins with a non-Jokic. You do not need to win any of these minutes with these games without Jokic from here on out. It is okay. Like it is fine. Like if they wind up going 7-8, that is way better than we expected. It is okay with how tired they are on the road. Now I think they win because the Wizards are actively tanking. And I just think that the Nuggets will be able to push this team. Will have such a high bar offensively.
Are we getting another 40 piece from Jamal?
Maybe. Yep. Or, Val comes back, he'll kill them. He'll kill, like they always kill the Senators, kill the Wizards. Gasar's still learning how to defend. That Bucks game, the Bucks are in a spiral, but that to me.
What did you think about the Giannis comments from the other
day? That was another, we're all trying to find the guy who did this. I talked about this morning, and I'm going to write about it on Paroxysm. I talked about it on Locked On NBA Daily. You can go check out that show every day on Monday through Friday. My problem with this is he's basically saying guys are playing with their own agendas, like they're taking bad shots and looking for their own numbers, and they're worried about touches and points. Yeah, man. Do you know why? Because they don't know where they're going to be. Nobody wants to get stuck in Milwaukee when you leave. Nobody wants to get stuck there on a rebuilding team with no national TV appearances, because that impacts your ability to get better contracts. So everybody is trying to showcase themselves and playing for themselves because they're trying to look out for their own careers, because they cannot believe, like, no matter how much you're like, well, I'm here now and I'm locked in. I'm with you guys right now. It's like, I'm with you, ... right now, unless I'm not. Okay. This is what happens. I saw this with the Nuggets in 2011 with Melo. I saw this with the Heat last year with Jimmy Butler. I saw it in 2012 and 13 with Dwight Howard and the Orlando Magic. This is what happens is guys start. I saw it with the Pelicans in the last Anthony Davis year. This is what happens when guys start looking at when they have to be concerned for their own career. Like in 2023, everything worked out for Denver because everybody was happy with their role. Nobody had to worry about their careers that season. That's how you get the best basketball. Nobody in Phoenix is worried about their contract right now. Everybody's like, yeah, we're good. Everybody's good. That's how you play connected. So you got to like, that to me is kind of the message there. But I will also say on the back-to-back, I would absolutely rest everybody. Like I would absolutely dip out of that game with how tired they are. They have, they're coming off of the back-to-back versus Charlotte. They have the back-to-back tonight. They have a 3-4 versus Memphis. They have a 5-7 on Tuesday versus the Detroit Pistons, which is a tough game. You need to just punt on that Bucks game. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously it's up to them, how they're feeling and how their legs are. But if obviously they're dealing with some stuff and they don't want to like continue to extend that. Now, I will say if this game goes short tonight, I think they'll play tomorrow. Like Murray and Gordon and them. If Gordon's around 23 minutes or so, then I do see a world where they play. They just got to get out the game, I think, in the third quarter, top of the fourth quarter, and see if they can get some rest.
Yeah,
I think that's going to determine a lot.
Yeah. The idea will be blow out the Wizards tonight and rest everybody, and then load up, beat the Grizzlies on Sunday, and then be in a really good position for Tuesday, which is when the death stretch starts. They start facing really tough teams. Tony's kind of noted that the schedule's been weak here. I just want to tell you, January, it is so much less about how tough the opponent is, and it's all about like how exhausted are you. Like it's just this time of year is so messy. It's about the level of standard that you play at rather than like, oh man, we played this team and then that team and then this team. Because it's, as an example, like, okay, we played the Cavaliers. Well, no Darius Garland. The Mavericks are playing the Warriors tonight, right? The Mavericks are probably going to win that game. No Jimmy Butler. Their season is over. They don't make a massive trade. And the Mavericks literally play better versus good teams than against bad teams. So is it like advantageous for the Warriors to play the Mavericks who are bad? No, because the Mavericks play hard every night and they play better versus good teams. It's a bad spot for the Warriors. I don't know. What's been like your okay? Well, let's talk about the Wizards game first. There's nothing really that the Wizards are good at right now because they're not trying to be. The one thing I will kind of note is gotta watch out for Keyshawn George.
Yeah, he's been balling.
Sarr is going to pick and pop a lot on Val, and that's going to be a little bit of a problem. Marvin Bagley versus Zeke Naji is a matchup I am looking forward to because I am an absolute sicko, and I kind of think that Marvin Bagley is like what Zeke should aspire to be, which is sad, but it's also true. Marvin's also underpaid. Marvin's actually pretty good now. Like he's a guy that suffered so much with his draft stock and bounced around, but like Marvin's just like a good rotational guy. I do not like. I am very down on Bub Carrington right now. I'm just very low on him. But if Bub just attacks and gets downhill in pick and roll coverage, this could be another game where that problem of their pick and roll coverage when they have the bigs comes back and they have some issues there. You have any other thoughts on the Wizards?
Yeah, they're just they're a little bit of a tough spot. They actually have some young players that I like. and I've been watching and paying attention to. You mentioned Keyshawn George. He's been a hooping this year. Like he doesn't get a lot of the flack and like a lot of the love and appreciation because he's playing with Washington. But I think he's probably their most talented player moving forward. It was supposed to be Bilal, but he hasn't developed, I think, offensively to the way that they want him to. I think Alex Sarr will benefit a lot from having Trae Young on the roster. I think that's going to help him when he gets to playing. But it is going to be interesting to see how they handle tonight. Keyshawn, if his shot's going down, the Wizards they're harder to guard and they're harder to put away than they would be otherwise. But it just depends. Like he had a really good night versus Denver the other night. But I don't know if he's going to be able to maintain that and put that forward again. But he's been hooping, man. Like I really like Keyshawn George. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. On the other side, I want to ask Swipa about his favorite things from the non-Jokic stretch. Spoiler alert, I bet Peyton Watson's name will come up. And I will talk about Spencer Jones because I'm a Spencer Jones maniac. And I actually have a question for Swipa about trades I want to get to. We'll talk about that coming up on Locked On Nuggets. New year, new systems is a time of when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our businesses and think, quote, there's got to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades that you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. When your team's reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. I love how simple Quo makes everything. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. It works right from your phone or computer, and you can even keep your existing number. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnba. That's QUO.com/lockedonnba. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day and making us your first listen every single day. Okay. There's a question here about trades, and I think our Discord for everydayers, which you guys should go hop in and join at. Like that's starting to get more lively. I think it's a really great space for you guys to be able to talk and share trade ideas and everything else. So just sign up to be an everydayer at lockedonnuggets.supercast.com, and you can join that Discord. And I get to make comments about Swipe all the time because he's not in there. There's a lot of talk about trades. I want to ask you this, man. Scale of 1 to 5. Okay. 1 being not at all, they're good. 5 being they absolutely 100% have to make a trade or they are not making it to the conference finals. How much do the Nuggets need to make a trade?
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2. There's always some upgrades you could take. I think that's where your Peyton Watson question comes in. Can you consolidate Julian Strawther and Zeke Naji and Peyton Watson into a very a clear upgrade, long-term viability? Then I think there's a route there, but no, I think that they have all the pieces they need. We're at the point where we're like, okay, they have too many guys that can start. Who's starting? I think that's a really good problem to have. I think that the bench unit is solidified. I will say backup PG is probably the biggest question on the roster, just because Bruce has been not so great this year. Jalen Pickett has clearly been, I think, a better point guard, like an actual guard off the bench. But if they could find a way to really make an upgrade, like with an asset, then I think there's a world in which they can make a trade and make a move to solidify that position in particular.
I don't think you never turn down the phone. Like the Thunder take calls.
Yeah.
I'm at a 1. I just think this team is good enough to win the title, and you're good enough. And there's stuff like we lack speed on the perimeter. Every team has weaknesses. The Thunder have a real problem on the interior that nobody really talks about. Like if you create points in the paint consistently, you can give them real problems. And their counter to that is going to be to absolutely jam the paint like they did last year versus Denver. But guess what? Denver's got shooters now. Every team's got weaknesses. I think it's unrealistic to be like, we have to keep tinkering until we get the perfect team. I don't think that means you stop looking at options. But I also don't think that you're just like, let's mess up what's going on right now.
Right.
Because they are so universally awesome when they are fully healthy. And I do not think that changes. I don't see them going I think they'll struggle when they first get everybody back and we'll have a lot of overreactions. I think that long term, they're still going to be the best offense in the league. best offense in NBA history, and they are a team that I have a lot of confidence making the conference finals as long as they don't go through OKC. If they are a 4 seed, or if something happens, I don't know how this would happen, but if OKC was in the 2-3, sure, okay. But even with San Antonio, who I think is a really bad matchup again for Denver, I think Denver matches up badly with San Antonio. I am still kind of like, I think Denver comes out of it. So I am at a 1 just because I think that there's more disruption to trades than people realize. Like it causes real disruption. Sometimes it comes in and it clicks. Yeah, you trade for Daniel Gafford and suddenly he turns into Dikembe for Mutombo for 4 months before he returns to being Daniel Gafford. And then it's like you make a fluke finals run. Cool. The Nuggets don't need that, right? And like you will find problems with I will tell you, like, a good example is the other night when they were trying to get Luka involved in these actions and Jalen slipping into space and was terrible in that environment. Keon Ellis isn't going to be better there. Now, is Keon going to be a better defender than Jalen? For sure. Is he going to be able to, like, one of the other issues here with the perimeter defense thing, as much as I've talked about their problem with getting over screens and defending pick and roll actions, you can't avoid it because they're still going to switch 1-4. Like, just because you add a good defender doesn't mean that the team's going to be like, oh no, we have to go against him. They're going to be like, well, we're not going against Keon Ellis. Let's get Jamal Murray in this action. Let's get Christian Brown in this action. Let's get Aaron Gordon in this act. Like, they will just go with the other guys. So I think you have to accept your limitations and be like, the important thing is for you to execute at the level that you got to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm not really worried about them in matchups, man. If they're healthy at this point, I mean, they're going to have such a physical, big, skilled rotation that they're going to have wings that are dribbling, guards that can penetrate, bigs that can score on the interior, and they can beat you at the nail. They can beat you in the post, and they can beat you from the three-point line now. And they got enough people to defend and spend energy defending. So I'm not even like, that's why that Lakers game, I was the whole second half, man, I was watching the game. I was beside myself that, like, Adelman kept switch hunting. Like, stop it. Like, stop it.
I asked him about it. Did you hear that?
No. What do you say?
Yeah. So I asked him about it, and it was really interesting because certain questions get different answers from different people. Right. Because in part, this isn't like a better or worse. It's not like Adelman thinks more highly of me than anybody else. He doesn't know. He doesn't care. But if you're a TV person, you're trying to get like the most basic answer. If a TV person asks a question, it's like, how great was it to have the crowd out there tonight? I hate TV questions. But I was like, are you comfortable with the amount of switch hunting that you gave? And after he had been like, we had great shots, we just missed them. Right. Because that's an easy answer and it defends your guys, doesn't put blame on anybody. He was like, I'll have to go back and watch. Felt like we probably did a little too much.
But Matt, it's nothing wrong with doing it. But again, I think they didn't correctly map the floor for the double. If they're pressing high, then you have to have a release valve high that either you can bring a shooter up on the wing with a roller in the middle, and then P-Watt, for me, is going all the way to the corner. He wasn't having a good ISO day.
But two of their possessions, though, when they failed, I know you broke all this down the other night with the whiteboard, but two of the possessions where they failed was actually literally that. I actually think P-Watt wasn't involved enough. The P-Watt's in the corner and being spaced out, and I know he's so good in the corner, but what happens then is, like, Jalen's on a short roll inside pick and roll.
Yeah.
And that needs to be a pass that he makes, but he's just so not used to it. And Rui comes all the way from that corner to that strong side. And there were just sequences where I was like, you have the lob to Zeke. I put this in the Discord if you guys are curious to see it. You have the lob to Zeke or the kick to the corner to Peyton.
Yeah. And
they just switch hunted it too much because they were just like, oh, let's just bring whoever Luka is guarding, let's bring him into the action. Instead of what you actually probably want to do is get into your stuff quicker and be like, let's get Luka off Jalen by switch hunting off ball and then bring him into the action. Like, that's probably what you want to do, because then it's really funny because it's not like they blitz. Like, Luka's just standing there with his hands down. He's just standing there. And that's why Jamal kept making the pass. Is because Jamal was like, it's wide open. Like, my roller, my slip screener is wide open. So I
think Cam Johnson was the centerpiece between them blowing them out and then losing that game. If Cam's there for that game ends in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Just basic stuff.
What's been your favorite thing from this month without Jokic when they have exceeded so many expectations and gotten so many surprising wins, but it's also been absolutely brutal at times?
I mean, the answer obviously for a lot of people is Peyton Watson, but I just think this Jamal Murray stretch just put him in like different conversation. There's a different level of respect that he is getting, where when I now talk to people about Jamal previous to this year, it was like, man, he ain't no all-star. He's not a top 20 guard in the league. He doesn't do this, doesn't have this on his resume. Jamal Murray now is averaging 29 and 7.5, 8 assists, and he's shooting 43% from three without Jokic. In this month, he's averaging, I think, 29, almost 30, obviously because of this last game, with 9 assists on really good efficiency. He's the best pull-up three-point shooter in the league by a grip this season. He's playmaking out of his mind. He had a 22 and 17 game. He had a 21 or whatever in 15 assist game. He's had a 42-point game. No Jokic. I think he has upped his own public IQ, like his public perception. And I think on the other end, people are now looking at this Nuggets team saying, when Jokic gets back here, man, like if Jamal's playing this way, like what do you do? Like how are you going to defend this team? Because now you can't load up on Jamal like you did, like the Lakers did. Now you got a short roll demon. And Jokic is the best ever at that. You can't load up on Jokic anymore. Now you got Jamal. So I just think him and Peyton both, that duo for me has become like must watch, must see TV. I can't hear you.
Jokic, Shea, Giannis, Luka, Steph, Cade. I'll put Cade 6. 7, 8, 9, 10 is some order of Donovan Mitchell, Wembanyama, Kawhi Leonard, Jalen Brunson, Jamal Murray. And I think I would have Jamal Murray at the top. I think he legitimately may have been this. He is somewhere between 7 and 9 for the best players in the NBA this season.
You left out Anthony Edwards.
That's where I have him. No, I didn't. So
I think Cade, you can say, I think Ant's been better than Cade. I think Jamal's been better than Cade too.
I think Cade's been great. He's
been good this year.
No, he's been amazing.
He's been good. He's been really good.
No, he's been amazing, and people underestimate how great defensively he is.
He's been really good.
Good defensively. He is awesome defensively. Cade is incredible.
So you didn't say Jaylen Brown either, but I'm sure you're not like,
He's in that conversation too. I would have him in that conversation.
I think Jamal's been better than JB like this year.
Yep, me too. I think he's been better than JB, and JB's getting MVP talk.
Yeah.
I think he's been way better than Jalen Brunson. I think he's been. I first blanched when Ryan was like, "Well, I think Jamal's been better than Donovan Mitchell," and I was like, "Come on, no way." And then I actually looked at the numbers, and I was like, "No, Jamal's been better than Donovan Mitchell. Just has been."
It's crazy.
My favorite Spencer Jones. Just seeing him because I was like, "Oh man, Spencer's gonna be useless without Jokic." I was like, he's just such a he's corner threes and hustle and no man, he is so smart and so good. He has found ways to be useful.
Yeah.
And some of that is Adelman would say, he said this to me several times. He's like, we still run the same stuff, Matt. We're not running anything different. We're still running split action. We're just putting Aaron up high in the high post versus Yoke. We're still running 2-man game and slipping with Aaron versus Yoke. It's the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that Spencer has managed to adapt and make such an impact, I just think is so phenomenal. He is a smart, efficient, good player. That
block he had on Braun in the first half last game, where he got all ball, I was just like, man, Spencer. Well, he has 6 games left, I think, on his 2-way.
7 was what Ryan said, I think.
Do you think they bring him back? Is he getting the 15 spot?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's getting it guaranteed. Yeah. Okay. They may. I'm going to be annoyed because I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to play him until it runs out, and then they're going to wait, and then they're going to do it versus just rewarding him as it should be seamless. It should be he plays that last game that he's eligible, and the very next day is Nuggets agree to contract with Spencer Jones.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it should be immediately. But what they're going to do is they're going to wait because they're going to not do it until they're absolutely positive they can get under the tax with it. That's what they're going to do. So, by the way, this is your last. Folks, this is, let's see, we are 2 weeks away from the trade deadline. Yeah, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
These are your last 2 weeks of seeing the end of these bench guys. One of Julian Strawther, Hunter Tyson, Zeke Naji, at least will be gone.
You think so?
Yeah. They're going to get under the tax. They just are. I don't think they should, but they are, especially because I thought that they could break the repeater by getting out from 1 year, and then Ryan reminded me that it's 2 years, and I'm just like, what? You're never going to be under the repeater, otherwise you're anyway. That's a whole other ball of wax that Ryan is doom spiraling about right now in our group chat. Okay, you have any other final thoughts? What's your prediction for these next 2 games?
Win-win.
Okay, I'll say win-loss.
So that would be 8 of their last 10 they've won now, if they win both.
Mm-hmm. Pretty crazy, man. It's crazy. All right, we will see you guys again after the game. We'll break down the game and do all that for you. And then we'll be back tomorrow with Boom and Gloom on Friday, and then another recap after the Bucks game. And we'll be back on Sunday night for No Jinx after the Grizzlies contest. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you guys again next time here on Locked On Nuggets. Spencer Jones Hive. I would do anything for him. I would give a lung.